We seem to have a number of issues with dealers involving insurance salvage auctions. One such problem is dealers can sometimes buy damaged vehicles at the salvage auction where they get a so-called clean title from the seller. Should those auctions be selling those without a salvage title? And if they do, what is the correct procedure for the dealer to follow?
Great questions, and there's really a couple parts to this. Number one is, where was the vehicle titled at originally when it became damaged? What state was it titled in? Unfortunately today, every state has their own laws as to when a vehicle becomes salvage, when a vehicle is branded as salvage, and when a vehicle is junk. It's really advantageous to the buyer, Iowa dealer who's buying vehicles, that they really do their homework before they just jump on the internet and start buying some cars through a salvage auction. Just because a vehicle, for example, I'll use the state of Texas. Vehicle may have been totaled in Texas, insurance company paid it off, put it on the auction block. Well, by Texas law, that vehicle was damaged to maybe 60% of the value of the vehicle. But by Texas law, it may have said it doesn't have to be put on a salvage title. Vehicle then goes on the auto auction website, and an Iowa dealer purchases it, thinking that, heck, they got a good deal on a vehicle and it's on a clean title. Great. The problem is, though, is an Iowa dealer is required by state law, Iowa law, that when they obtain a vehicle that damage exceeded 50% of the value of it before it became damaged, the Iowa dealer or recycler is required to put that on a salvage title, which we know then has a significant value change in the vehicle. And so we take significant amount of calls from dealers who say, what do I do now? I have a vehicle that's worth 40% less than what I thought it was going to be worth, because I didn't realize that Iowa law said it's salvage even though I bought it out of state from a state that it didn't have it salvage. That's one of the, it's great to have there again the interstate sales that you can buy vehicles across the borders. It's just buyer beware. When you see that it's been damaged, typically those websites have a lot of pictures of the vehicle, give you some basic information about it. You might want to do a little homework ahead of time, maybe make a couple calls to figure out, it says clean title, but what was the damage that was done? Maybe can you get an insurance report, maybe from the auction, where they give you some information ahead of time to help educate you on, gosh, when I get this vehicle back home, what do I need to do with it? Do I have to put it on a salvage title or not? So it's kind of a miscommunication or a misnomer with our dealers to think that if it's a clean out-of-state title, I'm okay and it won't be an issue. The other thing that concerns us also is what we call pre-polling of those vehicles, where the vehicle was damaged, it was totaled, a claim was made, but maybe somebody along the line did some pre-polling on the vehicle, fixed up a few things to it, and then they turn around and sell it at an auction and an Iowa dealer buys it. We still believe that it's still based on, a dealer has to be knowledgeable about what really did happen during that accident. Bottom line is, a consumer who buys that vehicle from a dealer, if they find out through maybe problems they're having with the vehicle, if they find out that that vehicle sustained 60-70% damage when that vehicle was totaled, they potentially have a claim against that Iowa dealer if they didn't put it on a salvage title. Even though maybe somewhere in between somebody did some shenanigans and maybe pre-pulled some things or kind of made it look like it wasn't as badly damaged, it still can hold the dealer somewhat accountable for that someone could say, well, dealer, you should have done a little more homework and had a little more knowledge about what that vehicle's history was before you bought it. And today with technology, you can get a lot of history about vehicles and what happened to vehicles. Maybe even doing Google searches by VINs, you can find things as well. But I certainly encourage dealers to do their homework before they click on that button. The other part of this is what does junk mean? We find more and more insurance companies today, they don't want to have these vehicles be put back on the road again. They only want them to be used as part vehicles, and so they'll actually get junking certificates for the vehicles. And of course each state's laws are a little different on what's junk. But what we find is people will buy these vehicles on an out-of-state junk certificate and thinking that, well, maybe Iowa will allow me to put it on a regular title. Maybe I can get a bond title for it. I can somehow put it on a regular title. And I'm sorry to say that you can. I mean, once we determine, either through Invitas or through contacting that state, we determine that that vehicle was actually branded as junked, basically, by our definition, we would say that we were not going to title the vehicle. We're not going to allow the vehicle to be operated on with an hour registration. So there, a dealer can be stuck with a vehicle now that it's really strictly only a parts vehicle. So before you hit the buy button, it's good to research to what really is the information on that vehicle's ownership. Is it a salvage title? Is it a branded prior salvage? Is it junk? And maybe we've had calls from dealers who are saying, I want to buy this vehicle, but here's what it's telling me that the vehicle is called right now today. It's some junk from maybe from Florida. What's that mean? What would Iowa do with that? We're happy to help walk that through the process, because we know the financial potential loss that there could be if a dealer clicks the buy button and now the vehicle can't be registered in Iowa again.